Hi guys, welcome to LastHumansTech. Thanks for coming to part 2 of Linux basic commands. Let's start right out here by creating a file which has this sentence in it. Now because I don't want this to go to the screen, I'm going to redirect it using that right arrow to a file called test file. Now we will make sure that that file is created and we'll see what it says. That is the correct line, and we know what it says now. Let's then look at the WC command, word count, and we'll see what it tells us about this file, and then we'll talk about it. So what the WC is doing, it's telling us that this file has 1 line, 5 words, and 21 characters. You could use some certain options on this WC to narrow down that output a little bit. And I'll use the -W for words, so it's only going to count the words. And then you see that it says we have 5 in here. Let's look at the NL command, number lines, so to speak. And this is going to show line numbers in the file. So let's go ahead and see what NL shows us. This is similar to the cat command with the -N. Exactly the same output, you see that? But the NL can be a little faster and take a few less keystrokes. Alright, let's go ahead and clear this screen. Now we're going to look at the cut command. This is sort of a simpler command than the AWK, the awk command, for grepping certain text. So let's say we're going to cut -D. This is your delimiter. You're again, just like the awk command, you're telling it, and we are working on the passwd file, so you know ahead of time. We're saying that you're going to cut certain things, and the separator in that file is the colon, which is true for the etc password file. Then you're going to say -F1 etc passwd. And you can see that this is only showing us the first field, which is the username of that file. Let's do the same thing here, but we're going to change it to a 5, and this should show us the full usernames. There you go. So the cut command can cut out a certain section, a certain field, as long as you have the separator designated, such as the passwd file. Alright, now let's get a little bit deeper and add some commands to that. So we're going to cat the password command. We're going to pipe it into the next command. And the same one, field 1. And we're going to show line numbers and redirect it to a file called usernames. Now what we did here, we viewed the file, we cut out the username column only, we counted the line numbers, printed the line numbers, and we sent it to usernames. Let's do the same thing, except for the full names. And then I do want to change this to full names. And let me just delete this extra stuff. And now we should have 2 files here. Let's go look at those files next. Let's look at cat usernames. There we go. And let's also look at cat full names, which should be longer descriptions of these names if it cut correctly. And there we have those. So now we have 2 files that are prepared, and one has field number 1 of the passwd, and the other one has field number 5 of the passwd. Let's go ahead and clear the screen. Now I would like to show you the join command. So we're going to join usernames with full names, and we're going to use field 1. Now this is only going to show us on the output screen, right? It did not change the file. It's just showing us an output of it joined right here. So you could do the same thing and send it with the redirect here to joined names. Now you can look at joined names here, and you have a file which now houses this, so you have a permanent record of this command. So let's look at this joined names file again. You can see that it's a bit jumbled up here. So let's go ahead and look at the paste command also. Paste usernames full name. So instead of the join, we are using the paste command, and we're going to redirect it to joined names 2. Now let's look at the difference of this file, and here you can see the paste made separate columns and separate line numbers. If we look up here to remember, the join command did not give you that extra line number, right? And the paste command now gave you 2 separate columns with line numbers next to each other. So that's 2 different ways to join and to paste. Alright guys, I want to show you the expand command. So first we're going to look at birthdays file, right? You have 3 columns: name, phone extension, and date of birth. You can use the expand command with the -T for your spacing options, and we'll choose 30 and we'll widen these columns. Let's see what this does. See what that did? You can customize the width between each column there to your own. It can be 10, 20, or 30, whatever you like. But remember, this is just a standard out to your monitor. This isn't altering the file at all. This is just temporarily viewing it. So if you wanted a permanent copy of this, you could, for example, redirect it with the right redirection arrow to a file called birthdays2. Now we can look at birthdays2 and we have that information saved. In the same way you can expand, you can also unexpand. So let's try this here. Birthdays2, and bring it back down to 10. Let's see what this does. That shrunk it back down. So you can both expand your columns and you can also shrink your columns. Let's look at the command OD. This refers to octal dump. And if we look at birthdays2 here, we're just going to see some gobbledygook, a bunch of optical gunk here. And you can use something like a -H option to see the hex of this information. And a more important one you can use is the -C, which will show you special characters in that file. And this is what really tells you more about what you'd like to know in the file, where you have /n options, which is next line, and you might see sometimes a /T option, which shows where the tabs are. So this could show you where special characters are using the octal dump with the -C option. Alright guys, I want to show you the sort command. So first, let's go ahead and look at the file birthdays again. And the sort command is going to put it in alphabetical order. So let's see how that works. Here you can see it takes the first character of each line, and now it has sorted it into alphabetical order here. And you can notice that there is 2 lines which are the same in this file. So what you could do is pipe it or redirect it, so you're taking the output of this command into another command, and it's the unique command, UNIQ. And this should eliminate the duplicates in the output that it shows you. And you can see here, it eliminated the second Mark G line. So that's another way. You got the sort for alphabetical order, and you can pipe it to unique to get rid of any duplicate lines. Let's go ahead and clear the screen. And I'm going to do a man ls, but I'm going to send the results to a file. We're just basically creating a big file with the help for the ls command. And I want to show you the format command, fmt. So first we're going to look at the file using cat. And I just want you to see what that looks like. Look at the right side margins here, the columns. The text goes all the way over. Sometimes it'll word wrap across the side. Now we're going to use the format command instead. And we're going to use fmt and the file name. And especially watch that right column and how it changes. You can see now how it cleans up the presentation of this document and file. It isn't all the way out to the edges anymore. It's nice, neat, organized lines. So the format command can be used for some larger files to make them a bit more manageable. Let's look at one more command here. So we're going to clear, and we're going to look at the PR command, which is actually used for printing. So we're going to do a PR long file, yet another way to look at this file. And you'll say, wait a minute, there's nothing here. But let's scroll up. What this is doing, see, it shows page 5. This is giving you a printer view to kind of give you an idea what it would look like when you print. See, it has page 4 at the top of your print page. So the PR can be used to show you what a print output is going to look like. Alright, let's go ahead and clear this. Let's look at the cat etc password file again. Actually, let's go ahead and use a -n to see line numbers, just for what we're about to show you here. So you can see the passwd file has 32 different lines in it. Let's look at the head command and the tail command now. So we're going to do the head passwd, which will show you the first 10 lines by default, and the tail wd will show you the last 10 lines by default. So the head can be used when you just want to see the first part of a file, or the tail can be especially useful when viewing logs, when you just want to see the last few errors that came up. You can tail a log also. Now let's clear the screen. Now you can also cat etc passwd. You can pipe it or redirect it to the head command. Use a -- lines and say you just want to view 3 lines. And there you just have 3. Let's go ahead and add in some line numbers here. And here you can see where it shows the line numbers. Same thing with the tail command. We're just saying 3 lines only of the tail, and it's only going to show the last 3 lines. So by default, head and tail will show you 10 and 10, and you can customize it with the -- lines option and get the exact amount of lines you want. Next, I want to show you the split command and how you can separate a file into separate parts. So again, we're just going to have a quick look at the passwd file with line numbers, right? 32 lines, so let's clear that. Now we're going to split and specify the amount of lines. And we're going to tell it the file we want to split. And we're going to give it a prefix of what each file will start with. And then it's going to append its own. So let's go ahead and see what it made now. You can see here it used our prefix split_1, and then it created files AA, AB, AC. Let's just go ahead and look at one of these. And we're doing the AB, which should be about the middle of the passwd file. And there you go. So you can see it split the passwd file into 5 sections and separated those. Now let's go ahead and do it again, but we're not going to include a prefix. So then you wonder, what is it going to call the files? Well, let's take a look. Now we're going to go to ls again, and the default file name is going to be X. So you can see over here, all the prefix is X if you don't specify. And then it has its AA, AB, AC, and separated into 5 lines, not 5 parts. So each of these files is 5 lines long, as many as it takes. So the X is the default prefix if you don't choose your own prefix. Alright, let's go ahead and look at birthdays again. And I want to show you the sed command. That's a streaming text editor, similar to the awk command. So we're going to go ahead and cat birthdays, but we are going to pipe the output of that command to sed, and we're going to use S for a substitute, and I'm going to change November 9th up here, and I'm going to call it November 6th instead. I'm going to close this. Now you can see that it took the command of the birthday results, it did a substitution with the S option, and found the instance of November 9th right here, and changed it to November 6th, which you can see down here in the output. Now again, this did not change the file. This just sent to output to the monitor. If you wanted to send it to a file, you can redirect it again to maybe something birthdays 3. Now you look at birthdays 3 and you have that 6, which is the new number, where your birthdays and birthdays 2 has the old number, November 9th. Alright, let's clear the screen. I want to show you the TR command. So again, we're keeping things easy to understand here. We're just going to cat birthdays again, continually viewing the same file here. So what the TR can do is separate your lowercase, uppercase type of options. So let's say we're going to cat birthdays again, but we're going to pipe it and redirect that output to the TR command. And let's say that we want all capitals. So we're going to change all lowercase to all uppercase, and we want it to show on the screen. There you go. Now again, this did not change the file unless you redirect that to a new file. In the same fashion, we could make this all lowercase by going the opposite direction. So we're going to look at the birthday file and change all the capitals down to lowercase. And there's the results again. So the TR can be used if you have a big file and you need to do some large substitutions, capitals, lowercase, things like that. And it can be a lot quicker than doing that text editing manually. Alright guys, I just want to tell you about redirecting text real quick. This isn't really commands, but you're going to have standard input, standard output, and standard error. And the way those are designated, standard in is 0, standard out is 1, and standard error is 2. This is stuff you'll have to memorize for the test if you're going to take a Linux test or something like that. So given that we said that, let's go ahead and cat a file that does not exist. No such file.txt. Here you see it is telling us, right? So if we remember, this would be standard error number 2 because it is an error code coming out of that command. So you can then redirect that error outputs. You are redirecting, and only the error response, if that's what it gives you, to a errors.txt file. Now, it did show us the command error, but if we look here at the file, we see that same error that we saw above. So in addition to printing it on the screen, it redirected it into this file. So we have now a file with our errors in it. Now remember, we also have the append, which is sort of like a double redirect. So let's say we have cat birthdays, double arrows. So it's not going to replace the content of birthdays 2. It's going to add to it. So now if we look at birthdays 2, we should see many more lines than we saw before. Basically what it had plus the content of birthdays, which was added at the bottom. So now you can see these different formats we were playing with earlier. So the double arrow is to add to the bottom of an existing file rather than replace it. Next, I want to tell you about the T command. Imagine the T is like teeing off in 2 different directions. It's like a fork in the road type of thing. So we can look at the past WD, but we want to create a file. So we have to T it. So what we're doing here is we're both going to look at it and we're going to create a file. Now if we clear the screen and do an ls, we should see our past WD right here, .back. That's the file we created. So that's going to have the same content as the past WD file, and now you have it in a file. Let's string all this together now. The last few commands we tried. So we'll cat, and we're going to grep for a markg user, and we're going to pipe it again, and we're going to change all the lowercase to an uppercase, and then we're going to T it to a file called markg lines. So remember, it's all the T means it's going to show you on the screen and it's going to create a file. So you can see what it did here. It took the past WD, it grepped out the markg line, which we see here. It then changed all the lowercase to uppercase, and it should have created this file. So let's see if this file exists. We want to cat the markg lines, and it also created the file. So the T is a way to, in addition to seeing your output, create a little backup of that, create a file of that. So that's a very common command too, very handy. Next, the grep command is very common. Again, you always pipe it, so you're taking the output of cat etc past WD, and you're telling it to find a certain line in there. So you can see the grep is going to pull out, search for the instance, and then show you any line which has that instance. Now you can also use a -I with the grep, which is going to mean ignore the case. So whether it's lowercase or uppercase, it's still going to find it. Let's go ahead and look at birthdays here real quick, just to show you that. You can see that you have a capital November here. So we're just going to show that that's true. We're going to cat the birthdays. We're going to grep ignoring case and look for November 9th. Now if we had not used the -I, it would not find this. But because it doesn't care if it's lowercase or capital, it then again finds the line, and that's the most common use of grep. Finally, a few quick notes on the VI editor, the Vim editor. So remember, VI is to open a text editing program so you can go ahead and edit the files. Now I won't be saving this, of course. So I went ahead and edited this. Now you have 4 modes for your VI editor. Command mode, which you always press escape to get into command mode so you can use the key command letters to perform actions. Then you have the command line mode. Look at the bottom here. I do colon, and that is a command line mode. You see the colon is waiting for a command on the command line. And again, I can escape to go back into command mode. So now it's command mode. In addition, you have insert mode. You can either use the lowercase I on the keyboard or the insert button on the keyboard. And you can see that it says insert at the bottom. Now ignore the warning. This is because this is a root-owned file and it's not going to let me change it. We're just doing this for example. You could press the insert key again and watch it change to replace. So see, you can go back and forth with the insert button here for insert or replace when you're working on your edit. Then if you get stuck, always press escape, which just takes you back. And one of the more common things you'll do is to add a line in a file. So you would use a lowercase o. Say I want to add something below this root line. Lowercase o is going to head and open it up, and I can start typing if I wanted to, but I don't really want to. Then I'm going to press escape to get out of insert mode, and I'm going to press DD, which will delete this line. I don't want to change this. And the same token here, you can press an uppercase O to insert a line above instead of below. So I'm going to hold down Shift, and now you can place a new line up above. It's ready to type, which we don't want to do. I'm going to escape to get out of insert mode, and another DD twice, a lowercase d twice, to remove this line. And you can then go to your command line mode. Remember, that's the colon, and you see at the bottom you have it flashing. And you can do a search. So I'm just going to do Mark G, enter, and it is not going to find that, which I needed to have a slash. And so a slash, and you'll find the string, and you can see it went right to that last line here. I'm going to escape and go back to command line again. Let's try one. Let's try FTP here. So you're searching with that /. You're searching for a string, and you can see the cursor went right to the middle there, to that FTP. So again, you can do escape to make sure you're in command mode. And again, colon to get to the command line mode now at the bottom. Hope you're following this, but this is very basic. There's a lot more to learn about the VI. And in the command line mode, you can either do a W to save it, which it's not going to let me because I don't own this file, right? It's a root file. Or you can do a Q to quit without saving any changes. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do exclamation point, quit, and force it to quit without any changes. And that is a real quick overview of VI, and you really just got to use it quite a bit, and you'll start to learn all the different options and things you can do with the VI editor. I hope you guys enjoyed part 2 of basic Linux commands, and I hope you come back for part 3. Thanks for watching LastHumansTech.